Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to Jackalopes of Fire TV. It's Jackalopes of Fire podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Chuck. With me, as usual, is my dear beloved sister, Scylla. Hi, Scylla. How you doing?
Hey, Chuck. How are you?
I'm good. It's Sunday. It's the 1st of September. I'm looking forward to the fall. We're getting up onto the Christmas season and Thanksgiving and all that neat stuff.
A little far from the holidays, but yeah.
There are only 4 months left in this year.
Yes,
we
there
are
are.
2/3 of the way through the year.
This is true. This is very true.
So the holidays are right there upon us.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, all right, it's September, right? So in September, well, obviously, we have Labor Day tomorrow, and then my mom's birthday, and then in October is my stepfather's birthday, and then in
And your stepmother's
November
birthday?
Well, that's right. I always forget that hers is in October as well. And then in November, we've got our brother Lee's birthday, and then in December, it's Dad's birthday and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the year is almost over.
Yes, Comic-Con is coming up.
That's right. Austin Comic-Con is right around the corner. It's towards the end of November as well.
Actually going to dig my costume out of storage today so I can start re-prepping it.
Right on. I know that the Chin is going to be in Austin this year.
Yes, yes.
So, looking forward to that. Hopefully, I may actually go.
You are going.
If I go, it's going to be for that Saturday. And so I'm half convinced.
I'm driving you. I'm driving you. You're going. We're going.
Half convinced.
No, you are going. If I have to shoot you with a tranquilizer and drag you to the convention center, you're going.
How far is the convention center away from the train station?
It's right there, but the train doesn't run on Saturdays.
Oh, really?
No.
Not even for like special events?
No, I take the train down there on Friday, but Saturday I have to drive.
Bummer.
I know you won't drive down there, which is why I said I'm driving you.
I didn't say I wouldn't drive down there.
No, you didn't, but I know you.
I don't like to go downtown at all, whether I'm driving or somebody else is. I prefer to stay away from downtown, especially on the weekends.
No, well, you're going with me. We're going to have fun. I'm still trying to get myself in the show somehow. I haven't quite completed this, but there's a couple of things I'm working on to be a bigger part of Comic-Con. We'll see if any of my half-baked plans pan out.
I'm so glad that you qualify it that way. They are half-baked.
Oh, I'm very well aware they're half-baked. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
Meaning you have to be half-baked at the very least in order to understand her plans. So anyway, so yeah, it's September 1st. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Several announcements recently in the pop culture world. Before we go any further, I declare this a Miley Cyrus free zone. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. Leave the bitch alone.
Can I say one very short thing?
Ugh. Fine. One.
All I want to say is clearly the whole thing was for attention. That's what she's getting. And I miss Hannah Montana. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. Anyway, so moving on. The one thing that I think has the internet world and pop culture and fandom, whatever you want to call it, in a tizzy is the casting of Ben Affleck as
two things.
Batman.
Two things. That casting and James Spader in the new Avengers movie.
Oh, see, I hadn't heard about James Spader. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
What do you think about Affleck? My
first initial response was, well, hell, it's DC. What did you expect? A good choice?
Well, now,
that was my initial gut reaction.
Yeah, and to be fair, DC has very little to do with casting.
It's still related to Warner Brothers, which is DC's parent company. It's all tied to DC somehow. And
okay.
I blame Didio. I know he has very little, if anything, to do with it, but I still blame him.
Fuck it, we're gonna blame Didio for everything. If it's got even the slightest bit of connection to the DC comic universe, we're gonna blame Didio.
Blame Diddy-o.
Oh, I bet we could do the lyrics to that.
Oh,
Anyway.
man, we're doing that.
So, all right, so that was your initial reaction. What was your follow-up reaction?
I have very low expectations for this movie anyway.
Yeah.
So I really don't think that Affleck could do much to make the movie suck any worse than I suspect it will anyway.
Okay.
So, you know, who knows? He might surprise everyone and actually bring something to the film. He's not a bad actor. I think I don't see him in the role of Batman.
Right.
Just like George Clooney's not a bad actor, but I didn't like him in the role of Batman.
Right, and I'll say that I'll admit to that. You know, I like Clooney as an actor. I didn't like him as the Bat. I like Ben Affleck as an actor. I don't think that he is ready to take on the role of Batman, and especially after seeing his outing as Daredevil. Now, I grant you, and I've said this to everybody who's brought up the arguments. Daredevil was not written by Ben Affleck. It was not directed by Ben Affleck. And a lot of the problems with Daredevil are in writing and direction.
Yeah, you can't necessarily blame the actor for a bad movie. Just like, I mean, Catwoman was, well, Catwoman. But you can't blame Halle Berry for that.
Right, but in watching Catwoman, even all these years later, I have seen it relatively recently. Yes, I put myself through that periodically because it's Halle Berry. But in watching Catwoman, I can at least say that she brought as much as she could to that role. She did really well with what she had, which wasn't much. Ben Affleck in Daredevil is a different story. He didn't do a whole lot with what he had. In my opinion, it was not a great performance. Regardless of direction, regardless of writing, it wasn't a great performance. Actors can fail in a role regardless of the casting and, I mean, not the casting, but regardless of the direction and the writing of that role.
And it's also very easy to see if an actor did the best they could. Helen Slater's another great example. It's very easy to see she made a great Kara. She didn't have much to work with.
Yeah, exactly. She put everything she could into that role, and her part in that movie was actually very successful. It's everything else that sucked.
Exactly.
Speaking of Helen Slater, really quick, I've been watching Supernatural. I've been tweeting about it because I really do love this show, and I got out of it kind of early on, so I've been going back and I started from the beginning and watched it through. The point of the story is I'm in season 4, and whom should appear on my screen but Kara Zor-El, and I'm like, holy crap, that's Helen Slater. I thought that was kind of cool. She was in an episode of Supernatural.
She also was in the whole series of The Lion Game.
Yeah. But that show sucks, so see the difference?
No, that show rocks, and my point is she's been doing, I mean, it's not like she's not working.
Yeah, certainly she's been working. But that makes 2 CW shows that she was on, because she did that appearance on Smallville as well. And, of course, she and Jensen Ackles were in both shows. I just think that's kind of interesting. It's little things like that. It's kind of like all the people that are in Harry Potter that are also in Doctor Who. We came up with 15.
Please don't list them all.
No, I'm not going to list them
I will fall asleep.
Yeah. But a friend of mine at work and I were talking about it, and he got a bug up his ass and decided to go look, and he found 15 actors, if you include the one from the spoof, just since the show went off the air. I think that's pretty cool. But anyway.
Anyway.
So, anyway, I never got to my point. I don't think Ben Affleck is ready to be Batman. I
don't know
think he's a good actor.
Ever will be.
Right. Now, does he have the stature and the physique for it? Sure. Yeah, and people have been talking, well, he's got that chin. Yeah, okay, he's got a heroic chin. But that doesn't mean he can act the role.
It takes more than a chin to be the Bat.
Exactly. Now, I will say this. Joss Whedon, whom we all revere, and well, at least the diehard nerds in us, has given his blessing to Ben. He's actually said, y'all give him a chance. I think he's going to do great. And that makes me go, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. I don't have a lot of high hopes. I expect to be very disappointed by the film because I've been very disappointed by most of the Superman outings on big screen. So, because, I mean, you know, Superman Returns and the third and fourth of the original movies, so 3 out of 6, so half the Superman outings. But anyway, I expect to be disappointed, but I'm going to give it a chance. I may not go see it in theaters. We'll see. A lot of that's going to depend on Dad. If he wants to go see it, we'll probably go see it.
Honestly, the thing that worries me the most is Matt Damon made a comment. I don't know if you saw that Matt Damon commented on Ben getting the role.
I didn't.
And I'm not going to quote it exactly because I don't have the quote in front of me, but it was something along the lines of, it's just Batman. That's well within his acting range. Well, to us, it's not just Batman. It's Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This is a cultural icon. It's not just anything. There is no just Batman. There is no just Superman. There is no just Jesus Christ. These are icons that have to be portrayed in a specific light in order to be successful.
And granted, that was Matt Damon. I don't know if he speaks for Ben or what Ben's take on the character is, but they are best friends and they do talk, and if that is at all how Affleck feels about the role, then there's going to be problems.
Right. Now, I'll also say this. Kevin Smith has also come out and said Ben's going to do a good job.
Well, everybody in Hollywood has said that, but...
Oh, no. Not everybody. There's been a lot of people going, what the fuck? Will Wheaton, for example. Will Wheaton's not happy with the Ben Affleck casting.
He's not exactly an A-lister, though.
He may not be an A-lister, but in nerddom, he's a big voice. But
all of the past Batmans, including Adam West, have given their blessing.
Wow. But they're all idiots. Adam West is old and senile. Honestly, I've been talking about this at work a lot, and I made the joke about I'd rather see a cardboard cutout of Garfield in a cowl rather than Ben Affleck as the Bat. However, we actually did come up with a really good concept, and I take full credit for this. What they should do is not show Batman on screen at all. It should be just a silhouette with the horn, with the ears and everything, and have Kevin Conroy off screen doing all the voice work. I think that would be way more successful than any A-list actor putting on that cowl.
First of all, whoever does the role, and since it's obviously Affleck, they need to talk. He needs to have a meeting with Conroy about how to do the Bruce versus Bat voice. Because Conroy is the only one to do that completely successfully.
Ever. He's the only one to ever pull it off.
He needs to never talk to Christian Bale.
Ever. Now, a lot of people give Bale a hard time. Bale was forced to do that voice, and then that voice was digitized to make it even worse. So a lot of that's not even Bale. That's post work, and Chris Nolan required him to do that weird ass voice, and then they did a lot of post work to it. So I choose not to blame Christian Bale. He did what he was told to do. That's all Christopher Nolan.
I still blame both of them. Anyway, and again, and I've said this before, my personal choice for Bruce, Batman, is always going to be John Barrowman. I think he would make an amazing both characters.
I think he would do a great Bruce, certainly, but I'm not sure that he could do the voice. His voice is a little too light.
After seeing him in Arrow and Torchwood both, I definitely think he could pull off, because in Arrow he pretty much does. He plays both I'm drawing a blank, Malcolm Merlyn, and he plays the Dark Archer. So, you kind of see the dual personality aspect. I think he could easily pull off Batman and Bruce.
Oh, okay. That's something I would have to see what he's doing on Arrow to give you a fair assessment of that. What I've seen in Torchwood and Doctor Who, I don't agree.
And when Arrow hits Netflix, I definitely think you need to watch at least the first season. Obviously, season 2 is not out yet. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but I definitely think that since you could sit down and just watch it through, you should sit down and watch the first season of Arrow when you have the ability to, because while the beginning is a little bit rough, if you can make it through the first episodes, it's got some good stuff in it.
That's right. It's 23 episodes long. If you can make it through the first 19, you're good.
Pretty much.
It didn't get good till the last 5 episodes or whatever.
Exactly.
I've heard that about it, and that's what I'm worried about. Because if that was the first season, the second season, I don't have a lot of hopes for.
That's why I think you need to watch on Netflix so that you can just bust through it.
Yeah. Speaking of Netflix, I want Netflix, an open petition to Netflix here. Netflix needs to pick up The Glades. It was an A&E TV series.
Oh, it got canceled.
Yeah, the Netflix is showing the episodes that aired on A&E, and the show got canceled with a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
The main character, spoiler alert. Okay, the final episode of this season, the main character Jim Longworth got shot, and he's laying there bleeding out, and fade to black. That's how the show ends because the series got canceled.
Well, Lion Game got canceled on a cliffhanger too, a similar cliffhanger.
Right.
They find one of this missing character dead in a pool, and all the main characters are there trying to figure out who the murderer is, and we will never know.
Yeah, Steve, crap like this really pisses me off, especially if it's a show that does have a decent fan base. I think Netflix and Hulu and other shows like that need to seriously look at picking them up because they've done so well with their Netflix original stuff. They've got Emmy nominations. I mean, think about this. House of Cards and Hemlock Grove and the 4th season of Arrested Development. These are all Netflix originals. They did not air on traditional TV, neither terrestrial nor cable, and yet they all got nominations for Primetime Emmys in various categories. That's fucking awesome. That shows you that the awards understand that TV is evolving. The way we watch TV is changing every day, and it's moving towards this on-demand world, both using both online and through on-demand on cable, and it is moving away from the traditional television watching that Nielsen is basing their fucking ratings on and end up canceling shows. Most people don't watch shows live anymore. In fact, I would hazard to guess that 50%, if not more, of Americans that are watching TV are watching it through a recorded medium, either through a DVR or online through Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And
I do want to note hold on. I do want to note that 50% is a statistic you're guessing at, and we don't have actual numbers for this.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm completely guessing at that. That's based on my own knowledge of myself, my roommate, of course, and my coworkers and friends. None of us watch live TV. I don't work with a single person, and we've talked about this at work several times. My team, my team of 30 people, the ones that I talk to on a regular basis, none of them watch live TV. Even football games, they record them and watch them later, because none of us like commercials.
I watch live TV sometimes.
You're in the minority of people that I know. Doesn't mean you're in the minority of everybody, because I don't know everybody in the world.
No, but and I bet you, and I can probably get this information for the next episode, I bet you that Mom has actual statistics on that.
Yeah, you're probably right. She probably does. And I think it would be interesting to know especially because like you said, mom probably does have those statistics because I can't talk today, because she works in the industry.
Right.
And it would be interesting to know from an industry point of view how they view that. You know, are they getting those numbers, and how are they accommodating that? Because if Nielsen isn't, and which is still the rating standard.
Well,
if
Nielsen does take DVR ratings, and I mean they do ratings on DVR. There is Live plus 5, Live plus 7.
Right,
they
but
do
they're
ratings
guessing.
on that.
But they're guessing.
They're doing the same rating system on that as they do any other ratings. It's done by Nielsen Books.
Right, so they're relying on people to manually write down everything they write.
But that's always been the way.
Watch.
But that's always been the way that Nielsen ratings have been done, with the exception of metered markets.
See,
that's not any different.
But see, in a world where everybody's got a freaking cable box in their house, metered markets should be easier to do now. They shouldn't have to rely on books. They should be entering into contracts with people like Time Warner and Verizon and Comcast and all the other cable providers and going, okay, let's see what you're doing, and putting out DVRs out there. And then, yes, using books for the people that don't have cable or satellite. That makes sense, because then they're number one, they're having to read a lot less data from books, so a lot less manually entered and possibly inaccurate information. And they're getting real, live, first-time information. This person recorded 7 shows tonight. Those 7 shows need to be accounted for.
But the problem is when you're looking at on-air TV, cable, network, they have the data for the DVRs, but that doesn't help them. Because those channels rely on advertisers. So if you're recording on a DVR and you're fast-forwarding the commercials, they can't sell that. They can't go to an advertiser and say, hey, look at these numbers. That's why
broadcasters, not broadcasters, but producers of television shows are starting to change how they do advertising. They're squeezing the advertising into the show itself. How many shows do you watch that are suddenly become a car commercial in the middle of the episode? They're sitting in their car going, hey, check out all the cool features of my new car. In the script.
And there's definitely a lot more product placement now, but the fact of the matter is that's not covering all of your production costs. That's helping. It's not taking over commercials.
Okay, but it should be. It should be. They need to step it up and make it to where that's covering your production costs. Or go to a subscriber-based policy like Netflix did. Netflix is completely subscriber-based. They don't need commercials. It covers their production costs. All their users cover their production costs. We pay for their shows. All I'm saying is that the industry needs to take a step back and really look at how people are watching TV and tailor their advertising and their programming to those needs and desires.
I don't think that as many people are watching, and I'm not saying it's not a lot, because clearly it is, but I don't think there are as many that are watching TV on Netflix and digital media as you think there are. I mean, if you look at the whole country, I'm not talking about our general, the types of groups we hang out with, because you tend to hang out with people like yourself. I don't think there is as many as you think.
Hang on just a second.
And while you're looking at this data, we need to be talking.
What I'm looking up specifically is House of Cards, very specifically. The numbers on House of Cards to see if they have that. Because it kind of gives you an idea. It is one of the most significant progressive ways of doing broadcasting, and it's gotten all these awards. And
you do realize
they're
awards
not showing the numbers.
doesn't equate to ratings, though.
I understand that awards don't equate to ratings. I completely get that, especially when you consider who's handing out the awards. But my point is that if a show gets recognized at all, if a show that's on, it's not even on traditional broadcast, like either terrestrial or cable. It's on an on-demand service that you have to pay for, and it still got recognized for its outstanding work in television, then that's saying something. That means that it did make waves and people watched it. I wish I could find the numbers, but I'm not gonna sit here and waste all of our time looking for it. My point is that I suspect that I am not far off the mark. I suspect that millions of people are watching Netflix.
And I'm not discounting that. I don't think that it is in the realm of TV viewership. And I say this because
I bet Netflix viewership is outpacing TV viewership because most of the television that's on the air right now fucking sucks.
I disagree. When I recently, and I say recently, I probably February or so is when we had this conversation. I wish I could remember the exact numbers, but I don't. I'll get that information for a later date. I was having a discussion with my mom on cable and satellite penetration versus households that still only have over the air, and those numbers shocked me. I would have expected cable and satellite penetration to be much higher than what it actually is. I think if you look at the country as a whole, you would be shocked by the numbers as well.
I bet I wouldn't be. Yeah, the problem with Netflix, I will say this. Netflix has not released any of its actual numbers for its original broadcasting. It has said, yes, it's working for us, but it hasn't put out any real numbers to compare it to other television shows. As it stands right now, we may see those numbers later in the year or when the fiscal year ends or whatever. But as it stands right now, they haven't released any hard data, so it's hard to say. What we would need to know is what is Netflix's subscriber base. Kind of like what World of Warcraft does. Hey, we've got 11 million subscribers. I'd like to see Netflix's subscriber base and go from there.
Yeah,
because compare that to the population.
Because not all subscribers watch the original programming. I never do. I've never watched a Netflix original program.
Fair enough, and that is true. And so you can't just say, hey, all these people subscribe to Netflix, they must all watch this stuff. I get that. But my point is that I would like to know what the subscriber base is, because I bet it's way up there.
Oh, I have no doubt.
I bet you it comes close to one per household, because there are some households that have more. Some households don't have any. I get that, but I know several that have more than one account in the same home, which I think is a little weird. I'm not going to lie. Why not just pool your money together and pay for the extra TVs? But anyway, I guess it's because they want their own shit. They don't want mom to know what they're watching. Some of that anime crap is kind of risque.
Still, the point is, and again, without the actual numbers, we can debate this for hours.
Right, and it's pure speculation.
Right, because I disagree based on my knowledge base, but you have your own knowledge base. I will see about getting those numbers, and we'll come back to this topic.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Talk to your mom, get the numbers if you can, and of course I'll do my own research if I think about it between now and the next broadcast, and we'll go from there.
Now, moving on to the Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah, what's going on with James Spader?
He's Ultron.
Okay. Which means he's a voice.
That's the part that nobody quite understands. Is he just voicing the character? Is he somehow going to appear on screen? Is it going to be in his likeness?
Ultron's a robot.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's just a voice.
There's a lot of speculation. I want to reiterate, I'm not a Marvel fan. I know nothing about Ultron. I know nothing about what they could do with Ultron, what direction they could take him, how they could fit him into the movie. I know nothing. I'm going purely based on what I read online. And there's fan debates. about how he works into the movie, if it is just a voice, and how he's going to do as the voice, or in the role, as it were. So, that evidently caused some stir in the Marvel Universe side of things.
But I don't understand the problem.
Comment I read somewhere said something to the effect of something about Marvel trying to one-up DC on stupid casting choices or something like that.
James Spader has one of the most awesome voices ever. I think he'll be great in Voltron. Obviously, they're going to digitize it because he's a fucking robot. And they're not going to put him on screen. God, for one thing, he's too damn fat to be on screen. Ultron, I'm not 100% positive on the main version of Ultron, the Marvel 616 version, but I know in the Ultimates, which they're borrowing a lot from the Ultimates instead of the main storyline. But in the Ultimates, Ultron was actually created by Hank Pym. He was Giant Man and Ant-Man, depending on what time during his hero period you want to go with. But he's the one that created Ultron. Then Ultron went bad. He's an AI. He's a robot.
Like I said, I know nothing about Ultron. All I know is Loki won't be in Avengers 2, so I care just a little bit less.
They've confirmed that there will be no Loki whatsoever?
Yeah.
Okay. I bet they surprise us. He'll be in like the last fucking scene. It's like, hey guys, I'm still here.
Yeah, even Tom Hiddleston has said that he's not going to be in the movie, and he's glad about that. He said that Loki was the villain for the first Avengers. He thinks it would be stale to revisit that.
I sort of agree with that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with rehashing a character as long as you're doing something fresh every time. Loki,
which is what it looks like they're doing in Thor 2.
Right. So in the first outing in Thor, he's this spoiled little shit who is jealous of his brother, and so he takes steps to change that, and gets his ass handed to him. In the second outing, the Avengers, he's this pissed off, jealous little shit who is now come back for revenge, leading an army of aliens.
And I think he was as a person, he was considerably more evil in Avengers than he was in Thor. In Thor, he definitely had the jealousy. He felt overshadowed, but I don't think
he's
he
just
was
a little
truly
brother.
Evil.
Yeah, he's just a little brother in the first movie. He's just this jealous little shit, and he lets things go too far because he has the godlike abilities.
But by Avengers, he's evil.
Right. He's so angry at everything that happened to him in the first outing. Now he's going to strike back at the planet that Thor has called his second home. He's like, well, fuck these Earthlings. Why are they more important than I am? So, boom, die. And so I get that. And so obviously we haven't seen Thor 2, but what it looks like is
redemption.
It's sort of on the path to redemption.
My prediction is, and this is what I honestly think, because the powers that be in charge of all the Marvel movies have kind of made comments indicating there are future plans for Loki, and I don't know anything, but my prediction is that Thor 2 will redeem Loki enough to at least be an anti-hero, and he'll ultimately end up getting his own film.
We'll see. I don't know that Loki could carry a film. And I know that you're all fangirl about Loki and Tom Hiddleston, but I don't think that the character can carry a film.
No, and I'm definitely a fangirl, and so I won't even debate that with you because I'm too terribly biased. I will say that looking at the other Marvel movies coming out, I don't see where Loki could fit in otherwise. So if they do have plans for Loki, I'm be curious where it is if it isn't a solo film.
Just have to wait and see. Now, have they announced any other films in Phase 3? I know that we know now what Phase 2 is going to be completely. But have they announced anything in Phase 3, do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But to be honest, most of my Marvel research has pretty much stuck with Avengers and Thor. I know that we have Captain America 2 coming out soon. And, of course, Thor 2 is coming out. Iron Man seems to have wrapped up.
Yeah, they're done with Iron Man. With the exception of whatever he may do in the Avengers, they are done with Iron Man.
Right.
So we're in Phase 2 right now. Iron Man 3 was the first movie of Phase 2. Thor: The Dark World, which is the one coming up in November. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is in April. Guardians of the Galaxy will be in August, and then Marvel's Age of Ultron will be in May of 2015. So we're looking at just under 2 years for Phase 2 to wrap up. And then in November of 2015, we'll see the first movie of Phase 3, which is Ant-Man. But they still don't have any.
Yes, I did know about that one.
Next. Yeah.
And that's where I think
Ant-Man's the only one they've announced for Phase 3 so far.
And that's where I think a Loki movie will come in. And I suspect, if I'm right on my prediction, we'll hear about it during the promotion for Thor 2 when it comes out.
Yeah, that could be. Just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
So I almost had to throat punch somebody the other day. Due to spoilers. Throat punch. Throat punch. I now know another actor that is going to be appearing in the anniversary.
Oh.
And I am angry about it. Sorry, the Doctor Who 50th anniversary, for those of you not quite caught up yet.
We did kind of just switch topics.
I did. Not only did I switch topics, I switched complete genres. I went from comic books to time travel sci-fi. So, yeah.
I take it you're not going to tell us the spoiler.
Well, I'm going to leave it up to you. If you want me to tell you what I've heard, I will. But like I said, and only because it's okay since I now know. I'm angry about it. I've been avoiding news all this time, and then this son of a bitch walks up to me and goes, "Hey, did you hear blah 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 blah?" And I go, "Ah!"
Okay, if you don't want, I want the spoiler. If you don't want the spoiler, I would fast forward your video about 2 minutes or so, starting now.
Something like that.
Who is it?
Paul McGann.
Sweet! It's about damn time we saw him again.
The Eighth Doctor has filmed... Well, okay. The actor has filmed scenes for the 50th anniversary. What this means, it can only mean one thing. It means that there will be an appearance by the Eighth Doctor. In what role or capacity, obviously, we don't know. I assume it's a flashback moment.
So that means we have a definite 8th, 10th, and 11th Doctor.
Right. As of this moment, we know that Paul McGann will be in the movie. We know that David Tennant will be in the movie, and we know that Matt Smith will be in the movie.
And we know that Eccleston won't be in the movie.
According to everything Eccleston and other people have said, he's not going to be in it.
So we definitely don't have a 9th.
Right.
As far as if we get anything before 8, I still don't know.
Right, and of course, whatever John Hurt turns out to be.
Which I'll keep my mouth shut on.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Peter Davison. I don't know one way or the other, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see him pop up again.
Since he's already appeared, that would actually be unsurprising, yes. But, Peter's probably the only one of the original, pre-Paul McGann. that could actually do it, because Sylvester and Colin and Tom are all just too old.
They could probably write them in some capacity if they really wanted to. I don't know that they will.
They would have to explain some timey-wimey bullshit.
But exactly, it's timey, wimey, wibbly, all that stuff, and it's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all time travel.
Right.
How hard would it really be to explain some sort of weird glitch in time?
Right. So anyway, we have that. And, of course, that's the same weekend of Comic-Con, by the way. The Saturday that we are supposed to be at the Austin Comic-Con is the Saturday that is going to air. And it's going to be in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing it in 3D. So if you want to see it in 3D, you can go to select theaters to see it. I don't know what that means for American audiences. I know that at the very least, British audiences will be able to see it in theaters on the same day. But it's like it's only going to be that one showing, and they may re-air throughout the day. But there's that you won't see it. The BBC made the decision to air it simultaneously across the globe. So every place that's going to get it is going to get it at the exact same time, meaning BBC America, BBC UK, all that, which also means that the BBC America version will be the first time that they've aired it without commercials. There will be no breaks. It'll just air for like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, November's going to be an exciting geek-filled month. We got Thor, we got Doctor Who, we got Comic-Con.
Yeah.
November's going to be crazy for us.
Well, and not just that, but people, nerddom everywhere is going to slightly explode because, like you said, we have Thor, the Thor 2, we have the Doctor Who 50th anniversary, which will lead into the Doctor Who Christmas special, which we already know is going to be a regeneration episode. Mm-hmm. It's also Austin Comic-Con. Plus, I think there's another convention, a big convention going on somewhere around that time as well. And for other nerds in the pop culture universe, it's theoretically the release time frame of the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yes.
I expect them both to drop in November in time for Black Friday sales and things like that. So, it is a big month for everybody.
Yes, it is.
And I think
we're gonna be busy little jackalopes that month.
Yeah, the new Grand Theft Auto, I believe, is coming out in that month as well. I could be wrong about that, but I think GTA 5 is in November, maybe late October.
Yeah, so, we're gonna have our work cut out for us that month.
Yeah, we may actually step it up to more casts again just to cover everything.
We may have to, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
So, there was something else I was going to tell you. Crap. It was very geeky, and I was going to share it, and I don't remember what the fuck it was.
Well,
I hate when that happens.
One little thing I just want to mention, and I haven't got this game yet because I'm poor, but as soon as I have the funds, I will be getting it. They have released Ducktales Remastered.
That's what I was going to tell you. It just popped into my head what it was. Yes, Ducktales is remastered, and it's on the PS3. It's on the PlayStation Store. And
yes,
yeah,
and I saw it on the PlayStation Store, and it took all of my willpower not to just download it.
I'm gonna get it this weekend.
I was very tempted.
I'm gonna get it this weekend.
You suck. I want it so bad. It's.
Well, remember, I got paid yesterday.
I get paid Tuesday. So for those that are lost, back in the day of the NES, the first Nintendo, there was a DuckTales video game.
Oh, I'm sorry. Grand Theft Auto is actually going to be released September 17th. I was wrong about that.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
Anyway, back in the day of the NES, there was a DuckTales video game that rocked. if you were a kid in that era and you played video games, you probably played it and have fond memories, as I do. Fast forward to now, they've decided to re-release the game, but obviously since the 80s, gaming graphics have improved. We don't do 8-bit anymore, at least not for anything but nostalgia purposes. So they've updated the graphics so that the characters actually look like the cartoon characters. The music is music instead of MIDI files. My understanding is some of it's been updated. So basically you have your 80s 8-bit game converted to present-day graphics.
They're calling it remastered.
Right. They had got all of the original voice cast for Ducktales back to do the game, including Scrooge, whose voice actor is like in his 90s now. And as far as I can tell, this game's been a hit since it's come out. You have all of the people our age with fond memories of the game just clamoring to play this new remastered game. I and myself am dying to play it too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good. I'm sitting here looking at screenshots, and it looks a lot like you're just playing the cartoon, and that's exactly what it should look like.
Yeah, so it looks good. I've heard good things. Looking forward to playing it myself. And I actually, when I still had my free trial of Amazon Prime, was watching old DuckTales episodes streaming, and it's a lot of cartoons from when I was a kid. I'll sit and watch and I go, wow, that was cheesy. Why did I like it? DuckTales is actually still enjoyable as an adult. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, it's DuckTales.
I had forgotten how awesome DuckTales is. It's an awesome show, and I'm so looking forward to playing the video game.
Yeah, so with me having a 3-day weekend, I will probably go ahead and download it today and play it some overnight on into tomorrow after John goes to bed.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to sit there and watch me play. Actually, he enjoys watching me play. He reads while I play, and sits there and goes, "No, dude, go over there. It's right there." He does that a lot.
I would, if I had the time and didn't have a ton of crap to do this weekend, I would so sit there and watch you play that.
Yeah, a little known fact about my sister. She loves to watch me play video games. I'm not all that great at them, but she prefers to watch me play rather than play herself.
I will sit there.
Odd to me.
I will sit there for hours, I mean a whole day, if I have the time, and watch them play GTA. I've done it before.
Yeah, especially the old school Grand Theft Auto stuff. Which, by the way, I now have all of those. Over time, I have bought all of those for the PlayStation.
I think the only game that I've seen you play that I didn't really enjoy watching was God of War.
Really?
Didn't get much out of that one, but most of the time, yes. If he's playing a video game, I like to sit there and watch. It's like watching a TV show to me. When I bought Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters, before I played it, and I have played it, but before I played it, I took it to him to watch him play it. Like, now,
to be fair, we played it 2-player first.
Yes.
We both played it for a little while, and then she got bored and said, okay, I just want to watch you play. And I did. I spent the next, 6 hours just sitting there playing the game while she watched. Beat the whole damn thing.
Wow. Talking about the Green Lantern game, I just remembered a dream I had last night. I had a dream that Ryan Reynolds was at Comic-Con, and I was trying to meet him.
Okay.
That just totally randomly came into my brain.
Speaking of DC actors, haha, segue.
And didn't even plan it.
Yeah. So, Tim Daly. Tim and Sam Daly. You know that they do their little daily show TV on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen the one where Sam gets inducted into the League of Supermen? Oh, no. My God. So Sam Daly, son of Tim Daly. Tim Daly was the voice of Superman in the animated series back in the 90s, okay?
Right.
As well as the appearance in Batman and Justice League. That's all Tim Daly. Plus, he's done a couple of the movies.
A really good voice for Superman.
Yeah, one of the better ones.
Surprisingly, I never would have expected him to do as good in that role as he did.
Right, and much like Kevin Conroy, he gives a distinct difference between the Cape and Clark.
And I like the way that he played Clark, because we saw it was the version of Clark I like. It was Clark, the farm boy, just doing his own thing, and Superman was who he became when he needed to use his powers. Right.
So anyway, so Tim Daly was that voice. Well, his son Sam is the voice of Superman in Flashpoint, the recent Flash-based movie that sort of well, you all know what Flashpoint is, but anyway. So
have you seen it?
I have not yet seen it. So anyway, Sam was the voice of of Superman in this movie, which I think is kind of cool. That both of them have voiced Superman. So the point of the episode is Tim is taking Sam to get inducted into the League of Supermen. He blindfolds him, takes him to this yard, and there's Dean Cain on an iPad talking to Sam. And then the person holding the iPad is Brandon Routh. So it's 3 of the previous Supermen plus Sam. And the guys, the older guys, are sitting there just acting fools. They're all wearing these super shirts underneath their overshirts, and they're pretending to fly around. And it's just it's really ridiculous. It's like they're 5 years old.
I haven't seen that. I've heard about it and I've been meaning to sit down and see it. I haven't watched it yet.
I will repost it so that you can easily find it and watch it. But at any rate, at the very, very end, like I said, they've all been kind of there's this tree house, and they're all in this yard just goofing around, and this older lady comes out and says, "How many times have I told you kids to stay off my lawn?" And it's Andrea Romano, the voice director of all the animated stuff over all these 25 past years. So I think that's very funny and very cool.
Yeah, she has been in the business a lot longer than I thought. I had never really heard of her until the DC stuff. But she did voice direction for Tiny Toons Adventures and Ducktales.
Yes. Andrea Romano has been doing voice direction for a long time. Now, to be fair, the Tiny Toons stuff and all that was all Warner Brothers. She was the voice director for all of the Warner Brothers stuff. Batman, Superman, Justice League, Tiny Toons, Piggy the Brain, Animaniacs, all that stuff. Freakazoid. I love Freakazoid.
I connected all the WB stuff, but DuckTales too.
Right, DuckTales as well. And I want to say there was another Disney show that she was involved in.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Just interesting fun fact.
She knows her shit. And so there's the catch. If you want to get into the business, like me, I would love to do voice work in the business. I need to make friends with Andrea Romano.
There you go.
So anyway, what else do we have to talk about?
I actually had a topic, but while you were rambling about the last one, it kind of flew away. Oh, I know what it was.
There you go.
So I posted this video last night on YouTube, or from YouTube onto Facebook. I don't know if you saw it or not. It's from Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con from this year.
Oh, with Tom?
Yes.
I did not watch that.
It is quite possibly the coolest promotional piece I've ever seen. The coolest way to promote a new film. They actually had, during the Thor 2 panel, where I don't know who all was there talking, but they're talking about how they're in post-production of Thor, and suddenly the microphone goes out, the room goes dark, lights start to flash, and Loki walks out on stage.
And when she says Loki, she means Loki. It is Tom Hiddleston in full character, costume and all.
And he goes on about how he is Loki of Asgard, burdened with glorious purpose, and starts to talk to the audience about where are your Avengers now and all that. And at the end, he's getting cheered so much. By the end, he's like, I think I have an army. Feast your eyes. And then they show a trailer for Thor 2. I'll post the video on the Jackalopes page. Obviously, I'm a Loki fangirl, so it was cool on that level, but just from a comic geek level, I really do think it's one of the cooler ways to promote a new comic film, to actually have your one of your main characters come out at Comic-Con on stage, involve the audience interaction with the character. That was cool.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's a great way to involve the audience and all that, and to get them excited about your upcoming project.
Yeah, so if you're at all a fan of the Thor Marvel comic movies, check it out. It's fun to watch. If you're a Loki fan girl like me, it's even more fun to watch.
Which apparently there are a lot of.
Yes.
There are a lot of crazy bitches out there that love Loki.
We are of many.
Yes.
We are Loki's army. Someone actually made a comment on the video. Loki really does have an army. Look at the fan response. If he said, let's take New York, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah. Because you crazy bitches would do it.
Oh, we so would. In a heartbeat. Yeah, it's a good thing that the role of Loki hasn't gone to Tom's head.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I don't know, there is another video that I saw with him, an interview that he did during, I think it was during the promotion of Thor, but it could have been Avengers. It's one of the MTV After Dark skits. It's where the term Loki'd originated from, actually, if you've seen any of the things about that.
I haven't seen that. That's one of the memes I have not caught on to yet.
Basically, this interviewer is interviewing Tom, and Tom is saying that he's not that different from Loki. And the interview is trying to say, well, you know, Loki's a god, he's the god of mischief, and Tom's trying to say all the ways that he is like Loki. And it then proceeds to go into Tom pulling pranks on the interviewer, and after every prank he says, you've been Loki'd.
Loki'd, yeah. I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty funny. I laughed I had to actually pause the video a couple of times because I was laughing so hard that I couldn't hear it. And it takes a lot to make me laugh like that. Mm-hmm. I know you'll laugh sometimes where you fall off the couch. Things don't usually appeal to me as that funny. This had me rolling. So anyway, there's some good Loki videos out there. I'll post them up. And they're enjoyable even if you're not a Loki fangirl. Even if you're just a fan of the Thor films or comic films in general.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
So
go ahead. No,
I was going to say that's all I've got except for the segments.
Well, I was going to say it is September 1st, and it is the last weekend of preseason for the NFL. Some of you may know that I am actually a football fan. I love football. The preseason is ending today. All the final games will be today. College started yesterday, so good luck to my Mississippi State University Bulldogs and to the University of Texas Longhorns. And in case my roommate's watching, good luck Texas A&M. I don't really care about Texas A&M, but he does, so I gotta say it. Anyway, also with the preseason ending and the real season starting up this coming weekend, good luck to my New Orleans Saints and to the Houston Texans. Good luck to all of you guys out there. And let's play it safe, okay, guys? Let's not get hurt.
I don't follow football much, but I just have to say Jerry Jones has already guaranteed the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year.
He does that every year.
He's a moron.
He really is. Every year he goes, oh, I guarantee we're going to win this year. Well, okay, maybe next year. He's so stupid. He's so dumb.
He is, and I hate to say this because I'm a Cowboys girl, but he really is the Didio of the football world.
So before we get into our segments, and I'd like to start with our Netflix picks, because I wanted to talk about this real quick before we start talking about our picks. What do you think about the new way they're doing the instant queue?
I turned it off.
Oh, you set it back to manual?
Yeah, I didn't like it. That is not what I wanted. I did not like it, so I was very pleased that they had an option to turn it off.
I haven't turned it off yet because I'm still not decided. Now, it does seem to me that if I'm in the middle of watching a TV series, if you're going to recommend things that I should watch, shouldn't that be the first thing in the list?
My thing is, I have always organized my queue very purposefully into genres and series and whatnot.
Yeah.
So there's a method to the way I have it organized. I don't want Netflix messing with it. So the fact they let me manually organize it is fine.
I will say it is a little annoying that because there are things in there that I had lined up. Like I had all the Star Trek stuff lined up in the years they released. I had the 3 Prophecy movies, 1, 2, 3, and now it's scattered all to hell and back. So yeah, I may spend some time and go back and reroute the whole thing. I was just curious what you thought about it.
The good thing is once you turn it back to manual, it puts it back the way you had it.
Oh, that's good. So I don't have to spend a lot of time at all.
No.
All right. Well, let's get on to our picks. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Flix picks. Breakfast Club is on Netflix now.
Oh, what am I doing? I've got that on my hard drive. Never mind.
Breakfast Club is one of my 2 favorite movies of all time. It used to be my favorite movie of all time until The Notebook came out and tied it. Awesome 80s movie. To me, it is the perfect 80s movie. It has the best of, or some of the best of the Brat Pack in it. You got Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Ali Sheedy.
Yeah, for me, they are the Brat Pack. All the other guys are hangers-on.
I would actually agree with that. So, yeah, good movie. If you've never seen The Breakfast Club, I don't know what's wrong with you, but check it out.
Now, to be fair, some of our listeners are very young, and so The Breakfast Club was, way before their time. So, yeah, if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. I think you'll enjoy it.
My next pick is The First Wives Club. It has Diane Keaton in it, Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn. I actually haven't seen this movie in a while, but when I saw it was on Netflix, I immediately added it to my queue because I remember how hilarious it is. Funny movie, First Wives Club, that tells you a lot in the title. It is exactly that. It's about a group of first wives that have come together, and Elizabeth Berkley from Saved by the Bell fame is also in it. She's marrying one of their ex-husbands.
Yeah, when we talk about first wives, let's clarify that it is the first wife of an individual of a man. We're not talking about the first ladies, because the first lady of the United States is also sometimes referred to as the first wife.
Oh, no. The first wife of a man, as opposed to the second or third or fourth or fifth, depending on the man.
Just wanted to clarify that.
So that's a really funny movie. If you just want a good comedy, recommend it. And I actually don't really... Oh, here, I'll go with this as my third pick. I don't know if I've ever picked this one or not, but it's good. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have picked it before, but it's worth re-mentioning. Little City, it stars John Bon Jovi, which is the only reason I watched it to start with, and it became one of my favorite movies. I'd probably rank it as my second or third. It's predates Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve and those movies where there's bunch of different characters, and then their lives end up intertwining. But it's that type of movie. You have a bunch of characters that seem to be doing their own thing in their own storyline, and by the end you see how they all connect. It's got some comedy, it's got some drama, it's well written, good movie. And those are my 3 picks. Now, that being said, I'm going to, this isn't a pick, this is just more of a mention. I just noticed that Once Upon a Time is on Netflix.
Yep.
I haven't watched this because I don't like Jennifer Morrison that much, and she stars in it. That said, for the last several days, I've been reading through the Disney Wikipedia, and I've come across a bunch of entries that relate back to the movie, or TV show Once Upon a Time. It actually looks like something that's right up my alley, so I may sit down and watch at least the first couple episodes and check this out, regardless of Jennifer Morrison.
Once Upon a Time is one of those, I'm going to recommend it to you, and now that it is on Netflix, and recommend that you watch the entire first season, much like you said for me with Arrow. And the reason for that is because it does have its slow moments, but from what I understand, it actually got really good after I gave up on it. So I'm actually going to be going back and watching it. Plus, they've got a new spinoff coming, Once Upon a Time Neverland.
Wonderland.
I'm sorry, Wonderland. Yeah, sorry, I got them mixed up. But yeah, it's gonna be Once Upon a Time, but it's Alice in Wonderland instead of the primary stuff that you're seeing on the other show.
And I'm very much into Disney princesses, and it seems that they pretty much all make an appearance in the show. So
yeah, it is turned on their heads, though.
Right, but it seems like it's right up my alley, so I may have to check that out.
Okay.
So anyway, there you go. Your turn.
I went with a very Joss Whedon twist to my picks this week. My first one is the perennial favorite, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you've never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the entire series is available on Netflix. It's a great show from beginning to end. It's got humor. It's got drama. It's got horror, all wrapped up into a neat little package. Joss Whedon did a fabulous job with this show for its entire run. It was great all the way to the end. So if you've never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, now's a really good time. In addition to that, Angel, which was a spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it didn't last as long because it only had 5 seasons, but it is also a very good show. If you haven't watched Angel, start watching that too. Although I do recommend watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer completely until you get to the point where Angel splits off, and then watch them both together. Because, like watch one episode and then the other. Because some weeks when the shows were actually running together, they would actually be tied together episode by episode. So you had to kind of do that. So if you're going to do it that way. My third one is not another series from Joss Whedon. It's actually called The Cabin in the Woods. It's a horror movie, but it's got its own special Joss Whedon twist. It's a group of kids who are tricked into going to a cabin in the woods, of all places, and they end up choosing their manner of death, and they have to survive the weekend, basically. And the twist becomes why they were there in the first place. It's kind of interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but it does feature Thor. The guy that plays Thor, Chris Hemsworth, is in it. If you haven't seen, plus some previous Joss Whedon alumni is making an appearance. So if you haven't seen it, go take a look at it.
My Joss Whedon pick would be Avengers. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but we've talked about the Avengers.
Yes, I know. So, do we want to do...
as an also mentioned, the 1984 version of Footloose is also on Netflix.
Yes, it is.
I love that movie.
So, do we want to do your choice or my soapbox next?
I'm going to do my choice first.
Okay.
Have I talked to you about the Google Chromecast yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was making sure that I had not mentioned that. So a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine at work and I came across this really cool little device. It's called the Google Chromecast. It's available for $35. You can buy it through, right now it's online exclusively. It's not in any stores just yet. It's a relatively new product. It's available for $35 from Amazon, Best Buy, or the Google Play website. Now, here's what it is. It's this little dongle, and it's I don't have anything that's about the size. But anyway, it's about that big. It's not very big at all, and it plugs directly into your HDMI port on your TV. Okay, it is wireless already. It's Wi-Fi enabled. And it just syncs up with your, there's a little bit of setup you have to do, but it syncs up with your Wi-Fi, and it has the ability to stream Netflix. When it's all said and done, it's going to have Netflix, HBO Go, Hulu, Vimeo. Yeah, there's something else in there, but anyway, and more being added as we speak. Almost every week we're hearing about new things that are going to be coming to the Chromecast, and all it is a streaming device. It's basically it's the same thing that the Rokus are doing. It gives you the ability to stream these on-demand services directly to the TV without the need of connecting a laptop or having a PlayStation, or if you don't have one of those smart TVs like I don't. It has no keyboard, no remote control. It's completely controlled by your personal electronic devices, such as your smartphones, your tablets, or even your laptop. If you're on Netflix, if you're trying to watch Netflix, basically, if I have it on my phone, I can bring up a show on my phone and then press a button, and it goes to my Chromecast. And now it doesn't require that the phone stay connected or turned on or anything. Once it starts playing on the Chromecast, it is streaming directly from the Chromecast. The phone has nothing to do with it anymore other than to send the controls through the Wi-Fi. Just say, hey, pause that, and then it pauses. So it's actually a very cool little device. It's only $35. It can theoretically replace a Roku, which is the cheapest version of the Roku is $100, and it doesn't have all the features that the regular Roku has. You can, using this device, you can also, if you have your laptop set up, you can broadcast your Chrome web browser. Whatever you're viewing in the Chrome web browser gets viewed on your TV without any need for a cable running from your computer to your TV, which I think is very cool. It solves a lot of problems that I've been having because I don't want to keep a connection, a cable, just laying on the floor waiting for my laptop to be connected to it. Because it's pain. Let's face it, it's a pain in the ass to go behind the TV and plug in something to the HDMI every time I want to put my laptop on screen. So if you're looking for a device that streams Netflix, Hulu, your laptop's browser window, anything like that, look into the Chromecast. Like I said, it's $35. It's available from Google.com and GooglePlay.com, also Amazon.com and BestBuy.com. It will also be available in stores probably by Christmas. So anyway, check it out. You can go to www.google.com/Chromecast to get more information on it because I'm sure I missed stuff. So, yay. Yay.
Okay, that it?
That's it.
All right, my soapbox. So we go back to DC
wait.
Comics.
Do I need to get a pillow for this?
No.
Okay.
So we go back to DC Comics. A comment was made recently. Okay, first of all, there is a new comic book series. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's coming soon. It's Superman, Wonder Woman. You know, like all the Superman, Batman comics they have done. Well, the series is Superman and Wonder Woman.
I knew you were going to bitch about this eventually. And I don't blame you. I would too.
You may actually have some additional comments on this. My biggest... Okay, first of all, and I've said this before, Clark and Lois belong together. They have always belonged together. That's not even the point of this, though. I don't like Clark and Diana. I don't really like Diana all that much anyway. The biggest problem I have with this, though, was a comment that was made by someone at DC. Basically saying the point of this romance between Clark and Diana, and by extension this book, was to appeal to female audiences, specifically because of the Twilight craze. I have a problem with this on several levels. One, not all women like Twilight, nor that type of romance in general.
In fact, very few women like Twilight. It's mostly little teenage girls that like it.
Exactly, which is not the audience that comic books have ever been aimed at. It's always male or female. Comic books for the last several decades have been aimed at adults, the over 18 crowd, specifically 20 to, I'd say now, maybe 40-ish. So most of the female readers in that age range don't like Twilight. We hate everything Bella Swan stands for. We don't like Twilight. We don't like that type of romance. And we want Lois and Clark back together. Second of all, if you're actually trying to appeal to a female audience, why do you need to do romance in the first place? Why not give us a strong female heroine that we can relate to, like, oh, I don't know, Stephanie Brown? Oh, but that's right, you took her away from us because she's toxic. When that's the type of thing that we need to be appealing to females of all ages, be it kids, teenagers, women, we don't need more romance. We need a female heroine that we can look up to. And in my opinion, that's not Diana, not just because I don't like her, but because she's not realistic to look up to. You can look at Stephanie, who is a human that has done extraordinary things, and say, okay, look, she's just an ordinary woman and has done extraordinary things. That's a role model. So I'm a little bit miffed that DC feels like it's going to take very badly mismatched romance in the vein of Twilight to appeal to female readers. I myself, and I've talked to many other female comic fans that take great offense to these comments made by DC, and didn't like the premise of the series to start with, and like it even less now.
Yeah, I'm not even a female fan, and I'm kind of offended by the direction that the powers that be at DC have decided to take with the whole Diana-Clark relationship. And it's like you said, it's all about Clark and Lois. They are the couple. Diana has never been even a blip on the radar. Not really. Attraction, sure. But love? No. He's always loved Lois. And that's, Diana, if anything, Diana and Bruce is where they should go.
Yes.
Let's explore what they started exploring in the Justice League cartoon.
I would even go with that. Personally, I've always liked the chemistry between Karen Starr and Bruce, especially towards the end of the real DCU. When Bruce guest starred in the Power Girl books, they had some really good chemistry going there. But I would at least accept Diana and Bruce because there's a history there. They've shown some mutual attraction. Bruce doesn't really have a soulmate, as it were. I mean, you can argue that it's Selena, but that's more of a star-crossed lovers type thing. Whereas Lois and Clark are soulmates. And if you want to talk about the type of romance that females really want to see, that's it. not something forced on us. We want to see something that's true love. Lois having to learn to deal with all of the things that go into dating a super alien because she loves him so much.
Right.
But
And
once again, DC has proven themselves to be clueless with fans in general, and especially female fans. Didio and company have proven time and time again they don't know what female readers really want.
right, exactly. They don't have their pulse on the or they don't have their finger on the pulse of of their readership at all. Whether it's the male fans or the female fans, they don't get it. They're not getting the message. And unfortunately, the only way they're going to get the message is if people who are truly dissatisfied stop buying the fucking comics.
This is starting to happen. Sales are falling. Not as much as they need to be, in my opinion.
Not fast enough.
But they are falling. And yes, as much as DC is clueless about males, they're even more clueless about females, if that's even possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I will agree that their choices that the direction that they've taken with a lot of their female characters, you know, some of them just don't exist anymore, killing some of them off.
Weakening them.
Yeah, weakening, dumbing them down. In Starfire's case, just making her a generalized slut. That's not what we want. Neither the fanboys nor the fangirls want to see that. They want their old characters back. If you want to change the costumes, make them younger, fine. But don't change the fundamental characteristic of the characters. Dumbasses.
And they've done this so much with the male characters too, but specifically the strongest of the females. We lost all the humanity in Kara. We've lost everything that made Starfire Starfire. I had never even liked Starfire, and I realize why Starfire fans are mad.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Corey has always been drawn very voluptuously. She's always been very hot.
But she was never an idiot. She was a strong female.
Yeah, she knew she knew who she was and what she was. The way they're treating her now is just, it's disrespectful.
So we've lost Kara, we've lost Corey. They've taken away everything that made Barbara unique and strong. They've
eliminated Donna and Stephanie.
They've eliminated Donna, Stephanie, Mia,
Cassie. Cassandra.
Cassandra, because we have Cassie, but again, it's another character, another strong female that they turn into a whiny little brat. Right. Mia was very unique in the sense that she was a strong female doing all these heroic things with freaking HIV. Yeah,
with the death sentence over her head, basically.
And she still battled on. Through the side effects of her HIV cocktail that she had to take, she still battled on alongside the Arrow family. She's gone. And like you said, Cassandra's gone. Stephanie.
I will say this, at least with Mia, I can at least sit there and go, okay, because of the timeline shrinkage, Mia doesn't technically exist in Ollie's world yet. Okay, I can accept that. But there are other things that you can't just accept. For example, Stephanie, the dumbing down of Barbara.
Stephanie is even harder to accept now because for a long time you made the same argument that you just made with Mia about Stephanie, but now that they've introduced Carrie Kelly, that argument doesn't work with me anymore.
Right, exactly. But also because that they all along said that we didn't change a lot to Batman's timeline. Well, yeah, you did. You didn't just cram everything into 5 years.
They totally did. They
swaths out.
Yeah, they totally changed Batman because they took a timeline, specifically the Robin timeline, that was already a little wonky and made it totally never make sense.
Yeah, I think that they would have been better off, as far as Batman goes, they really would have been better off if they had said, okay, because we're doing this 5-year thing, Dick has been Robin, he is now Nightwing. He was never Batman. Batman never died. None of that crap happened. But Dick was Robin and now is Nightwing, and Jason Todd was Robin and now is dead. And we don't have a Robin. And then introduce Tim.
Yeah.
But the fact that they jumped straight over to Damian and then tried to say, in one book they're saying that Tim was Robin. In another book they're saying, no, Tim was always Red Robin. There was never a Robin for Tim.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of what they're doing, and that's just one small example of all the crap that's been going on since this Flashpoint happened.
Which is, and it's messed up a lot more than that, but as we were saying, it's taken out, it's taken away some of the strongest female characters. Donna is a shining example because even with the timeline shift, she should exist.
Right. Because they have acknowledged that Tim and them, that Dick and them did have a little gang when they were younger, but Donna wasn't there. Wally wasn't there. Wally was never Kid Flash, and he died like really early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was just some camera guy.
And Donna and Garth never freaking existed.
Right.
So that timeline thing doesn't work for Donna, and she was a very strong female character they took away, and the list goes on. And the ones that do still exist don't exist as strong female characters. They exist as female characters. That's about all you can say for them.
Yeah.
They've taken away my Kara, which really pisses me off almost as much as the Stephanie thing. And then to turn around and say, well, we are trying to appeal to female readers, and here's how. We're going to give you a comic book with superheroes that we're writing based on Twilight as our inspiration. No.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake. To even suggest that it has any connection to Twilight is a dumb idea. But even at that, it's wrong anyway. You can't compare Diana and Clark to Twilight. If anything, you would have to compare Lois and Clark to Twilight, because Lois would be, minus the whiny bitch aspect, Lois would be the mortal girl who has no powers, is in love with a near god, you know?
And see, that's a love story I could get behind as long as you kept Lois strong, which is the big difference between Edward and Bella and Lois and Clark, is Lois was a strong female that, even though she had no power, was quite able to hold her own with Clark.
Yeah, exactly, and didn't require the existence of Clark in her life to continue living. Yes, she loved Clark. Yes, he was a big part of her life.
But she was a strong woman all on her own.
Yeah, exactly. She was a strong woman long before Clark ever entered her life, and will continue to be for as long as Clark is not in her life.
Well, we saw that back in the 90s when Superman died.
Right.
Lois mourned Clark.
Going.
She was very, very distraught, obviously. She loved him, but her life didn't stop.
Exactly. Whereas with Bella, and I'll admit this, as much as I actually do like the books, I admit that they are not good role models for teenage girls or boys. I like them, but then again, I'm 36 years old. I can read them and go, this is so dumb, but it's entertaining. Whereas a 16-year-old girl, or even younger, is going to read that and go, oh my God, I want this.
And we've seen that.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen that a lot. And that's not the way that those books should be taken. They're not good role models. They're not even great fiction. They're entertaining. They're a good distraction and a quick read. That's the only reason I like them.
No, Stephanie Meyer is not a good writer. I'm a better writer than she is. I will say that straight up. There's a lot of writers out there that are better than me. I am by no means the best. I'm a better writer than her.
Yeah. But at any rate, the point is, it is not what they should be basing the relationship on at all. Even if they're going to do it, which I don't necessarily agree with to begin with. I think that having a Diana-Clark relationship is a bad idea to begin with. But if you're going to do it, don't start making comparisons to Twilight. You're just going to piss people off.
Oh, absolutely, especially the females you're trying to supposedly reach.
Right.
Which most of them, and I can say this because I do frequently involve myself in the female groups online, most of us are pissed off at you anyway for the whole Lois and Clark breakup. We don't want to see Clark with Diana, and we certainly don't want you acting like you're doing it for us.
Yeah. But what are you going to do?
So
Fucking
once
Didio.
again, Didio has fucked up.
Fucking Didio!
Exactly. And I don't care if Didio is writing this or not. This is the comics, so this is something that he could totally change if he wanted to.
Right, exactly. He's got the magic veto button. He could definitely change this if he could. It makes some insistences and say, hey, no.
But
he's not going to, because it's probably his idea to begin with.
Exactly. And if it wasn't his idea, he's definitely egging it on.
Yeah. Now,
So,
had they set up a relationship between Clark and Barbara, it would have been a Didio idea, because he's got a mad on for Barbara.
oh, absolutely.
So, anyway.
We all know that. That's why I still say that's why he spent so long trying to kill Dick Grayson. Because Didio's been trying for years to kill off Dick. I'm convinced that's why.
Jealous.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I've got. You got anything else?
That's all I've got. I've done all the Didio bashing I can do for an episode.
Woo! Anyway.
There will be a song. You have got this in my head now.
We'll have to work on that. So anyway, do want to say thank you to all of our listeners and viewers. Thanks for tuning in once again to Jackalopes Fire TV and the Jackalopes Fire podcast, which is essentially the same thing. It's just one's audio, one's video.
You can see my pretty face.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on audio, good for you. Oh, burn. I'm going to pay for that one. I'm going to pay for that later. Anyway, happy September. I hope you all have a great Labor Day. Of course, by the time you actually hear this, it'll be way past Labor Day because she's slow.
Okay, the last time
you should have just posted it as is because it was funny. Wait, I assume that the reason you didn't post it immediately is because you chopped out the middle bit where you disappeared.
No.
Oh.
It was having video issues. YouTube wasn't playing the video right. I had to do a lot of editing to make the video play.
Oh. Well, never mind then.
There were severe technical issues with our last video, which is why it took so long to get up.
So did you leave the bit where you disappeared for a little while in there?
I didn't edit anything out.
Oh, okay. I just assumed you had. I thought that's why it took so long. I never went back and watched it.
No, it took so long because we were having legitimate issues with the video.
Okay. All right. So barring any unforeseen technical difficulties, hopefully this will be up within a day or so, and you'll be able to enjoy our lovely faces and voices.
Yes.
Keep staying tuned. We're going to do these as often as we can. We're not guaranteeing anything at this point. Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done one of these. We're definitely not going to be able to do it every week, but as often as we can, we're going to get together and get these done.
And definitely stay tuned for November. That month is coming up, and it's going to be hopping. Yeah,
that's going to be a big month. You'll probably see a lot of us during that time frame. So stay tuned. Yep. JackalopesOfFire.com, JoF TV at YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Go to JackalopesFire.com. It's got all of our information, how to follow us and stay in touch and all that neat stuff. So see you in the funny pages.
Happy Labor Day.
Yes, happy Labor Day. I must have the final word. No, you can have the final word this time.
Bye.